Hey guys, Miss Terrell here. I just wanted to update you on Champ. He was adopted on August 20th, so I'm super excited about that, but I still miss this guy. All right, let's get ready to learn about some angles. All right, guys, let's get ready to take some great notes here about different kinds of angles. All right, so the first one we want to look at would be adjacent angles. It says two angles that are next to each other and they share a common side. All right, so let's see. You're going to have two angles that share a common side. All right, so if I have a picture like this. Hey, Stuart, did you go mow?
Yeah.
A, B, C, and D. All right, so they share a side. All right, so let's trace these angles out and figure out what side they share. So if I say angle ABD, angle ABD, and then I look at angle CBD, do they share a, Stuart, do they share a side?
Yeah.
What side do they share?
This one.
What's that called?
This one.
That one? Okay, so what's that side called?
That BC.
No, B.
Oh, B. Yeah, BD.
BD. Good. Okay, so our two adjacent angles are angles ABD and angle CBD. They share the ray, the side BD. All right, now let's come down here. Let's look at complementary angles. All right, Stuart, what are complementary angles?
Any two angles whose sum is 90 degrees.
Okay, so what does that mean? Two angles that what?
Add up to 90.
Awesome. Okay, so you can have adjacent angles that add up to 90. All right, Stuart, give me two numbers that add up to 90.
40 and 50.
40 and 50. Okay, so let's say I draw one angle right here. That is 40 degrees. And another angle over here that is 50 degrees. We would say these two angles are non-adjacent and they are complementary. All right, but then let's say I want to have angles that are complementary, but they're also adjacent. Okay, so here, Stuart, give me two other numbers that add up to 90. Quick. Hurry. I ain't got all day.
What?
I don't have all day. What are two numbers that add up to 90?
45 and 55.
Wow. Gosh, that is sad. I think that's like 100. All right, so Stuart's fired. Okay, so this is 30 degrees and 60 degrees. Okay, so these are adjacent angles. Adjacent angles.
45 and 45.
Good. Adjacent angles that add up to 90, so they're called complementary angles. Okay, supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. All right, so let's think. We could have non-adjacent angles. All right, so let's say this one is 80 degrees. Then the non-adjacent angle that was supplementary to that would be 100 degrees. Okay, so those are non-adjacent. And then I want you to draw a picture for adjacent angles. Okay, adjacent angles, two angles that add up to 180. All right, now notice that when you do that, you actually get a straight line when you have those two angles. So let's say I have one angle right here that is 70 degrees and the other angle is 100 degrees. They add up to 180 and they are what would be called a linear pair. A linear pair are two angles that are adjacent. They share a side, right? They share this side right here and they form a straight line, okay? So linear pair. So the word tells you you have a line, okay? Here's your line, and you have a pair. A pair means how many? Two angles, okay, on a straight line. That's a linear pair. All right, our final type of angles here, vertical angles. All right, so it says two angles across from each other on intersecting lines. They are always congruent. Let's see what that's talking about here. All right, so let's say I draw a big X. Okay, we're going to get 4 angles here. All right, let's say this angle right here is 70 degrees. That'll be angle 1. Down in the corner, angle 1. All right, we're going to have angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. All right, so beside this angle 1 right here that is 70 degrees, you have angle 2. Now notice that those form a linear pair, so they're on a straight line. So on a straight line, these two angles right here, they have to add up to, they're a linear pair, so they have to add up to 180 degrees. So this angle right here would be 110 degrees. All right, then you also have a linear pair right here with angles 1 and 4. So these two angles right here have to add up to 180. So that's going to make this 110 degrees. All right, now look at this over here. You have another linear pair right here with 3 and 4. All right, so what do 3 and 4 on this line, a straight line, 180 degrees? They have to add up to 180. So angle 3 is going to be 70 degrees. All right, so vertical angles are across from each other. So across from angle 3 is angle 1. All right, and we know that they are congruent, okay? We just figured out those are congruent. So we say angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. That's one pair of vertical angles. All right, then looking at the other pair, you have this one is 110, and across from it you have another angle that's 110. So that's the second pair of vertical angles, and they are also congruent. All right, so here we would have, get that fixed there, angle, let's see, that was going to be angle 4 is congruent to angle 2, the other pair of vertical angles. All right, so on the back of your angle sheet, I want you to write these notes about polygons. All right, it says a polygon is a closed figure formed by connecting line segments endpoint to endpoint with each segment intersecting exactly two others. All right, so you need to write that down, and then I want you to pause and really look at what that means. All right, so let's trace out here, let's trace out the polygon that is formed on the back of this little house here. All right, so you have what is called a pentagon. All right, and you're going to have some segments formed. You have a segment AB, you have a segment BC, you have a segment CD, you have a segment DE, and another segment EA. They only intersect at these points called the vertices, okay? And the singular of vertice is vertex, each endpoint where the sides meet, okay? So here you have 5 vertices, okay? Each one is called a vertex. All right, now, this is a polygon, okay? Something that looks like this is not a polygon, okay? Not a polygon, because what is wrong? I want you to think about what is wrong, and I want you to draw an example of something that is not a polygon and be able to explain why it's not a polygon. It says a closed figure. Well, it's sort of closed, but there's some open space down here. That's not closed. It's not closed here. Here it's closed in. All right, it also says connecting line segments endpoint to endpoint. All right, so here, here's an endpoint, but it's not connected. It's not connected, so that is not a polygon. All right, what if we draw something like this? Is that a polygon? No, it's not a polygon. Not a polygon because it doesn't even have segments. Okay, there's no segments in this picture, so it can't be a polygon. All right, so you have polygons and you have things that are not polygons. Today we are just going to focus on the lovely polygon. All right, now there's a couple of other terms that you need to know, and that's what we're going to talk about on the next page. All right, so let's look at this next example here. So sketch the polygon that forms the back of the playhouse. All right, so I'm going to try to draw here the back of this house. All right, and let's put some labels on here. All right, doesn't really matter where you start. A, B, C, D, E. All right, so it asks you to label consecutive sides. All right, consecutive means ones that are in order, okay? Here, consecutive sides are ones that are going to share a vertex. Share a vertex. All right, so what is going to share a vertex? A pair of sides that are consecutive. All right, so that could be something like side BC and side CD. Okay, and what vertex do they share? Well, that would be vertex C. Okay, another pair of consecutive sides would be DE and EA. They would share vertex E. Okay, another pair, you could say BC and BA. They're all consecutive sides. All right, consecutive vertices. Vertices that are side by side. Okay, so for example, B and C, they're side by side. You could also have C and D. Those would be consecutive. They're in order. They are side by side. All right, then you have consecutive angles. Okay, they are also side by side. So you could have something like angle A. Consecutive to angle A would be angle B. They also share a ray. That's one example. Okay, another pair of consecutive angles would be angle C and angle D. They're side by side. They share one of the rays. Okay, so if I look at angle C, that would be angle C, and then angle D. Okay, so they share a side. Angle C and angle D. They're consecutive angles. They're in order. Okay, not consecutive would be something like A and C. They skip around. Okay, we're looking at ones that are side by side or consecutive. All right, that wraps up some basic terms, and we'll finish some more in class. What, Silas?